There are so many causes for bleeding from the nose. Out of that, one disease which can result in nasal bleed is hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasis. First, let me tell you, the septum, that means the partition in the nasal cavity, the septum has got a very good blood supply. And if you take one artery out of that and the cross section, you can see that it has got three parts: interior, middle and the external. So, in this cross section, you can make out that the middle part, it has got smooth muscles, so that if suppose there is any bleed, the whole artery contracts, becomes smaller in size with the help of the smooth muscle, so that it can control the bleed. But in this condition, in hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia, what happens is that the middle layer, it lacks the smooth muscles. So what happens? There will be a chance, if suppose any trauma, there is a small bleed, and it takes a long time for the control of the bleed. So that's what happens in this condition. Now, I will be talking in this video, I will be talking mainly regarding the ENT manifestations. So if you see in the nasal cavity, the main finding will be there will be multiple small bleeding spots. It will be about 3 to 4 millimeters in size. So let us see the presentation one by one. One is bleeding from the nose. Second is the patient says if he has got a vigorous cough, they may have some blood stain in the sputum. That is second. Sometimes hematuria, he passes, the urine will be blood stained, and sometimes he will pass motion also will be blood colored. So it's all related that it says one message that there's bleeding, it's not able to be controlled. Now, on examination, when you put in an endoscope, we can have a look in the septum. It shows that there are multiple small bleeding spots. But in this diagram, I have exaggerated by showing so many bleeding spots. Usually it will be about 3 or 4 bleeding spots. Not only there, you can find the same finding you can find in the hand, in the tongue, as well as in the ear too. So usually it starts in childhood, but usual bleeding tendency, it starts after the age of 30, maybe because of the hormonal changes in the body. Now, the bleeding spots which we see in different parts of the body, it is not only external, but it can be internal, involving the brain, lungs and the liver too. So in case you have bleeding in the brain, it is going to be a dreaded complication. Now, for a diagnosis, we need few criteria. One is there is a history of bleeding tendency. Second is when you on examination, there are small spots, approximately 3 to 4 millimeters. And not only external, internal organs are also involved. And if you take a history, the first degree relative, they will give a history of the similar complaint. And all the bleeding parameters, bleeding factors, coagulation profile, all the parameters on investigation is going to be normal. So we do an investigation just to rule out that we are not missing any other disease. If you check the complete blood count, hemoglobin is going to be low because the patient has been bleeding. Now, if we check the bleeding parameter, coagulation profile, liver function test, as well as the platelet count, all these functions are going to be normal. Now, coming to the treatment part, there is no single treatment for that, and we just manage whatever the patient complains. If on examination of the nasal septum, there is a nasal partition, if there is the bleeding spot seen, maybe say 1 or 2, we can cauterize that area. The cauterization can be done with chemical cautery, with some chemicals like silver nitrate, or with electrical cautery also. Or there is another option, that is cryotherapy also. So in case on examination there are more than 4-5 spots, it has been bleeding recurrently, then what we can do is we can inject a sclerosing agent so that it results in fibrosis of that area and it can prevent bleeding. And there is another one technique, that is we can use laser technique also to control the bleed, and especially in the laser you have so many different types of laser. In that specifically argon laser is the best. Now, in case he has been bleeding for a long time, on investigation the hemoglobin, the blood value is very low, then the patient needs blood transfusion. If it is not very low, say it's about 10, then we can supplement him with iron tablets also. So these are the medical managements. Now, if you ask me, is there any single surgical technique by which we can overcome this problem? See, there are so many surgical techniques which has been tried, but which is commonly accepted is the septoderminoplasty. It is nothing but the mucosa which covers the nasal septum. That nasal mucosa is completely removed. It's from that part only it's bleeding usually. So that whole mucosa is removed and it is replaced by skin graft. So that technique or surgical procedure is called as septodermoplasty. But usually most of the patients we will be able to manage with medical management alone. Now, take home message. So what I am going to tell you now, next 3-4 slides, what I am going to tell you, this applies not only for this condition, it applies for any case of nasal bleed. So you have to avoid any sort of trauma to the nose so that it doesn't bleed. Likewise, the nose, when it becomes very dry, the chance of bleeding is high. So to keep it moist, you have to apply some sort of ointment or cream, any nasal lubricant which your doctor gives to you. So that has to be applied twice daily. So clean your hands properly and apply it in the anterior-most part on both sides and sniff in. Slowly it goes inside, gives a whole coating to the whole nasal cavity. Now, your room or the office or at home, the place should not be very cold, it should not be warm or hot. It's better that you humidify the place. Humidification means more of water content in the atmosphere. So that will prevent bleeding. Next, what I want to tell you is that avoid any sort of strain. So if you strain a lot, the chance of bleeding is more. So try to avoid lifting any sort of weight and avoid any straining. So in case you are constipated, get some medications for that. Avoid alcohol, quit smoking, and please do not take food or any drinks which is hot. Try to be on a balanced diet and it has to be cool, not hot or not warm. Now, during a head shower, try to avoid taking a shower in hot water, more than warm, which is unpleasant for you. This also can precipitate a bleed. If you have allergic rhinitis, or if you sneeze when you feel like sneezing, try to open your mouth and push all the air through the oral cavity. So sneeze through open mouth. Do not blow your nose strongly, forcefully. That also can precipitate bleed. And avoid any sort of painkillers, strong ones like Brufen, aceclofenac, and COX inhibitors, then Voltaren, because all these may precipitate a bleed. So it's better that you avoid all this. And if you are a hypertensive patient, keep your blood sugar under control. So these are the take-home message. So if all this, by being very careful at home, you can avoid a bleed. You can stop all the avoiding factors can be taken care of so that it doesn't bleed. Thank you so much.